Oh my god, I'm back. Hi guys, it's Chloe. It has been a fat minute since I've sat here and filmed a video. As you probably figured out by now if you've been keeping track of my channel, or maybe you haven't, but I took a little break from making videos this summer. I've been making videos and uploading them every single week since I was in 6th grade. And I never really had time to think about the content I was making or like who I was online and what I was doing and like my impact or any of that. I never really thought much about it because I was so busy like immersed in making content and having all this fun doing it. But as I got to high school, I started growing even more. I started learning so much more. And then I kind of lost myself in the content, I feel, and it started not to reflect who I was as a person as I was growing more and figuring out what I was passionate about. And like growing into like kind of a young adult, away from like the child I was when I started my videos, it just stopped like aligning with who I was. And I didn't really intend to take a break this summer, honestly, but I just really thought at a certain point, I was like, wow, I think I need this time to reflect on who I am and what kind of content I want to be making and what kind of impact I want to have. So I ended up taking a break for the summer, which was also really nice because junior year was so stressful. And also I've been taking the ACT all summer. I'm going to make a whole life update, what's been going on in the summer video, in the coming weeks, so you'll see that. That being said, I wanted my first video back to be something I have never talked about on my YouTube, but something I'm super passionate about and have become more and more passionate about. Last year I took AP Environmental Science, which completely opened my eyes to the whole environmental crisis, climate change going on right now. I learned so much in that class, and it really gave me a new perspective on the whole climate crisis. I always was aware of it, but I always kind of watched from the side and didn't think there was anything I could do to help. But the class made me realize that every single one of us as humans has an impact on the climate, and we all need to learn to work together and do our own part in fixing it, no matter how big or small. So this video I want to talk about small ways that we can help the climate in our everyday life that actually has a big impact. It's easy to think when looking at the whole climate crisis that everything is out of our control and there's nothing we can do to help, but that is completely untrue. By simply changing like day-to-day habits, we can actually have such a huge impact on the whole thing, and we can actually be change makers. With our generation, what kind of sucks is we were born into this whole climate crisis. We never really had a say in it, and we weren't the ones who kind of created it. And I think we're gonna become more and more forced, if we want to like continue to prevail and thrive, to adapt to the world we live in and to really come together and change the world we live in. And I think that's something that's starting to happen, but I think as we grow up and as this becomes more and more of a prominent issue, and I think it's really important that we start now while we're young by doing our part in setting a good example for this world. I want this video to show that even though we're young, and I'm sure a lot of you, like me, are under 18 and can't vote and don't feel like you have much of a voice, you have power over your actions and you have power over this whole situation. No matter how big or small, you can make a change and you have an impact. There's small things we can do in our everyday life to be more conscious about the environment when we're making our decisions. So I want to go over some of those with you, some of the things I've been doing. I'm sure I'm missing some. If my comments are enabled, I'm sure they won't be. I really want you guys to comment some more things that you do in your everyday life to help the environment, but my comments may be disabled because YouTube hates me. Okay, I think I need to get started with these now because I'm sure you're not watching anymore. That was the longest intro in the entire world. The first thing you can do to help the environment is by not eating meat one day a week. Participating in Meatless Mondays, it's a whole movement that's been going on for like a decade, I think, is when you don't eat meat every single Monday, but obviously it doesn't have to be on Monday, it can be any day of the week. Believe it or not, by cutting meat out of your diet for just one day a week, like you don't have to go vegan, you don't have to go vegetarian, this can have a huge impact on the environment. The whole production of meat and like getting meat from wherever it is to your table has a huge footprint. The whole process of it releases a ton of greenhouse gases and uses a ton of resources. So it is terrible for the environment. Not only is like methane released from cows, the land used for like agriculture and like livestock is a huge global contributor to deforestation, which is basically the clearing of forests. And as I'm sure you know, Forests are a huge way that we can maintain biodiversity, a ton of species can live there at once. Forests are a carbon sink, so they help to take some of the CO2 out of the atmosphere. So forests are really important, and the fact that we're clearing all this for meat production is really, really bad. When I was doing research for this video, I found out that 24% of all greenhouse gas emissions comes from agriculture and livestock production. One more random fact I found, the CO2 given off from 1 pound of beef is greater than burning 1 gallon of gasoline, which is insane to me. So cutting meat out of your diet, literally just 1 day a week, can have such a huge impact on it. And imagine if we all did that. Imagine if it became a global movement where we all participated in meatless Mondays. That would reduce our yearly carbon footprint so much. So honestly, I'm a big meat lover, and I don't think I could ever go vegan or vegetarian, at least not right now. So just setting the simple goal of cutting it out 1 or 2 days a week is really, really impactful, and it shows you that just the small little conscious decisions you make in your life really, really matter and can have a huge impact on the environment. The next thing you can do is to use less water, or just be more conscious about your water usage. Showers are a huge way that we waste fresh water. For a project that I did in my environmental class last year, I actually timed how long it took me to shower, and I found that I was taking 15 to 20 minute showers every day, just exfoliating and shaving and doing all that kind of stuff, and I was wasting so much water. And then I set a goal for myself to take 5 to 7 minute showers, and I've honestly just fulfilled that goal lately, which has been so amazing, and it saves so much water. I shave outside of the shower now because I realized it was taking up so much time. So I literally just jump in the shower, wash my face, shampoo and conditioner, wash my body, and that can all be done effectively in 5 to 7 minutes. We don't need a full 20 minutes to do that. Taking a 25-minute shower uses around 65 gallons of water, which is crazy. So imagine how much water you'd be saving if you showered in a fifth of that time, which is possible. Not only does taking long showers release a significant amount of water, it also contributes to our carbon footprint, as using all this water releases a lot of energy, because the water has to go back to the treatment plant after you use it. It has to be treated, which releases a ton of energy, which is terrible for the environment. Another simple thing I'm sure you've probably heard since you were younger is just to turn the faucet off when you brush your teeth. It sounds small, but it's the little conscious decisions that really make an impact. Keeping the faucet on when brushing your teeth can waste up to 4 gallons of water. So just turn the faucet on to wet your toothbrush, and then to rinse your mouth, and save all that water, because there's no need for it to be running, and it's something that we could instantly change and help the environment. Another one is to not flush at night. Obviously, use your intuition to determine when it's good to flush and when it's not, but usually if I drink a lot of water before I go to bed, I get up to go to the bathroom a ton. And honestly, just flushing in the morning rather than flushing 5 times at night can save so much water, because one flush releases 1 to 3 gallons of water. So doing that 4 or 5 times a night releases a ton of water, when honestly you could just do it once in the morning and save some water. Another one is the dishwasher. One dishwasher cycle can release up to 13 gallons of water. So just make sure when you're doing your dishes that you do a full load only. Sometimes if it's the nighttime and we just had dinner, I used to just put a few dishes in, or just do it for the night and have them clean in the morning. But it's really important to wait till you have a full load to do the dishes, which will save you some cycles and save a ton of water. My next tip is smart shopping for your clothing. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about fast fashion, which has been kind of a hot topic lately. Fast fashion includes brands like Zara, Forever 21, Fashion Nova, Zaful, Shein. These brands are all fast fashion brands. If you're unfamiliar with what fast fashion is, it's basically when brands use cheap labor and cheap materials to mimic new trends and styles. They're able to mass produce these, and they come out with new styles every day. And I'm sure if you're scrolling through Forever 21 online, there's an abundance of clothing, literally thousands and thousands of items of clothing on forever21.com. And that's because they're mass producing these, and they're doing it in completely unethical, terrible ways. Basically, the people making this clothing are not getting what they deserve for the labor they're putting in. They're not getting paid enough at all, and their working conditions are terrible. Not only that, but fast fashion has become a huge global contributor to climate change, because they're releasing a significant amount of greenhouse gases, a terrible amount. There's so much to this whole fast fashion thing, and I really think, guys, you need to watch the film The True Cost. It is so eye-opening. It's really well made too, but it completely opens your eyes to everything going on in the fast fashion industry, and it completely changed my mind about shopping at all of those stores. So I completely recommend watching it. It's on Netflix. It's super, super powerful. It's really sad too, but it's really eye-opening. Like, I think it's something you need to watch about the whole fast fashion industry. So what we can do is be more conscious about the places we buy our clothes. There's a few brands that are doing amazing work and are super, super ethical. I have a list here. There's Levi's. H&M has a new brand called H&M Conscious, where it's all sustainably made. There's Reformation, Patagonia, Athleta. Those are just the more well-known ones, but it's really important to do your research. Most clothing websites have an about page where they'll talk about how ethical they are, or if they're not ethical. They usually tell you if they are. It's really nice to support companies that are out there trying to make the environment better rather than destroying it. Another thing on the note of fashion is the best way that you can help the environment while still getting new clothes is thrift shopping. I'm really happy that thrifting is becoming really popular now. There's a ton of videos on thrift shop with me, and I'll certainly do more coming up soon. But you have literally no carbon footprint by already buying clothes that has been bought and produced. It does not have any sort of carbon footprint. You're not supporting an unethical brand, and you're not buying new clothes. You're getting clothes that's already worn. And thrifting is usually super cheap, and you can get some really good deals. There's a lot of designer stuff in thrift stores that you can find. It's really fun to thrift too. It's a really good activity. It's fun to go with your friends. Another thing is buying locally grown food when you can. Buying locally grown food literally means buying food that has been grown close to your home. On either a family farm or organic farm or something like that. There's so many environmental benefits to buying food that is grown close to your home. One of which is there's not the extra it's called food miles, which is basically let's say you get strawberries that are grown in California and you live in New York. The process of shipping those strawberries to the supermarket that you shop at in New York releases a lot of greenhouse gases because it is traveling all that distance either from plane or truck or something like that. So there's a lot less food miles when your food only has to be transported from the farm, the local farm, to your house, which is really, really nice. The less distance from farm to table, the less dependent we are on fossil fuels. Also, it's really important to support local farms and locally grown food. So if your town has a farmer's market, or there's a local farm, or your grocery store sells food that is grown locally, that is just overall so much better if you have that resource. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is plastic. I think plastic has been catching a lot of attention lately, which is great. I think it's catching a lot of attention because it's something that we can easily see and kind of easily fix. The whole straw thing, I'm so happy about this whole straw thing that's been going on. In my community specifically, I've noticed it a ton. Plastic straws are kind of out. In a lot of local restaurants, I've been seeing so many paper straws, which is making me really happy. Because obviously it's really important, and all this plastic in the ocean is super harmful to all the marine life and all the animals in the ocean. Plastic is literally in all corners of the ocean, which is terrible. It is so unnecessary because everything found in plastic can basically be found in a reusable form. There are just some smart things you can get that can be used all the time rather than plastic. I just have a small list of a few things, but I'm sure you guys can think of a ton more. Bringing reusable bags to grocery stores. My family has been using the same reusable orange grocery bags for the past 3 years, and it's literally amazing. We never get grocery bags anymore. It's so good. Just bringing those every time you shop, you just spend money on 4 of them, and you can use them literally the rest of your life. They're amazing. Think about all the times you grocery shop a year and all the extra bags that you just never use and are just throwing them out. It's so much better to just get some reusable bags that you can use all the time. A reusable water bottle is really important. Mine's actually right here. Look, weird flex, but YouTube one. Just having a reusable water bottle that you can bring everywhere and refill everywhere with you is really good. I know hydro flasks are really popular now, which is really good because it's encouraging you to go out and get a reusable water bottle and bring it with you. And I think it's kind of cool, honestly, that having that water bottle is a trend or a fashion statement. It's really good. It's encouraging using a reusable water bottle. I like it. I'm into it. Obviously, straws, unnecessary. If you need to use a straw, try having a reusable one. I personally don't have a reusable straw because I just don't really like straws that much. I don't even need straws. But if you're like a person who's like an avid user of straws, I would recommend like a reusable one, or at least getting paper ones. Also, it's very important to recycle. Be conscious when you're out. I know it's easy kind of like if you're at school or somewhere to just like throw all your trash just in the trash bin, but try to like go through it and like put some stuff in the recycle. Put your water bottles in the recycling bin. Put anything that can be recycled in the recycling bin. That's important. My last tip is to switch out your light bulbs. I'm not really an electrician, but I think we use 60-watt light bulbs, I'm not sure though, to LED or CFL lights. I recently did this in my room. Not only do they last like 10 times longer and are actually a lot brighter if you're into that, they are so much better for the environment. I was doing research a little while ago for a project, and I came across that LED light bulbs are so much more environmentally friendly than regular ones. They're so much more energy efficient, and overall just such a smarter decision to have, and it's such a simple switch. I have a lot of like data that I collected a little while ago that I didn't really memorize, so I'm just gonna read it out to you. I have 2 lamps on my bedside, which I typically have on from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is 6 hours, usually while I'm doing homework. And I found that I emitted 0.62 kilograms of CO2 a day, 4.4 kilograms of CO2 a week, and ultimately 1,600 kilograms of CO2 a year. So I simply switched these 60-watt bulbs out for these LED lights that I just got at my local hardware store. I'm sure you can find them anywhere, or they're online. So now I release 0.09 kilograms of CO2 a day, 1.28 a week, and ultimately 466 kilograms a year. And doing this cut my carbon emissions 29% in regards to my light bulbs. Such a simple switch, but it really has a huge impact on the environment. Alright guys, those are just some of my really simple tips on how you can help the environment. In my eyes, these are really simple and easy to do, and things that we can just simply switch in our everyday lives. The key, I think, is to just be conscious of the impact we're having on the environment in regards to everything we're doing. It's a really sad reality that we're living in a world that has this constant threat, but let's turn it into something positive and something where we realize that we have the power to change and we have the power to do our part. Also, let your voice be heard in your local community. Protest. You have a voice as a young person. If there's meetings about the environment, go to them. In most communities, it's really powerful when the youth have a voice and are out trying to enact change and are passionate about the environment. It's really important that you have a voice. And just doing all this simple stuff. It's really simple. I think I'm going to start a whole environment series, and I certainly didn't touch on everything we can be doing, and I want to talk more about bigger things, and there's so many aspects to it, so I'm going to start an environment series. This is the first video on it. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope the comments are on because I really want to talk to you guys. It's been so long. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and I will see you guys in my next video. You can count on me for that. Bye.